Welcome, everyone, to the webinar, Personalization and Human Connection in Affiliate Marketing. This is the end of One Size Fits All. I am your host, Dustin Howes, and we're going to wait a few minutes while everybody comes and joins us. This is going to be an interactive webinar, so please add your questions for the participants and the panelists here. Today's session is going to explain why generic affiliate tactics are fading away, and especially in the health and wellness space, how brands and agencies can win by personalizing every touch point. You're going to walk away with some frameworks and scripts, tools that you can implement immediately and to drive deeper partnership connections and better results. We've got an incredible panel here. Let's introduce them. First up, founder of Four Rooms Mastermind and co-founder of the agency East Fifth Avenue. She's helped generate over $530 million in affiliate revenue and is a leading voice on how to build high integrity long-term partnerships. She's also one of the most genuine and charismatic people that I've ever met. Amber Spears, welcome.
Thanks, homie. High praise. I appreciate that.
Of course. Next in the box here is the VP of Marketing over at BioOptimizers and host of the Real Influence podcast. Great listen, by the way. Joey, thanks for coming on in. With a decade of building trust-based affiliate and influencer networks in wellness, he's mastered the art of turning authentic connections into scalable growth. He's also a great follow on Instagram. Joey Valancourt, welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys. Excited for today.
Awesome. And finally, CEO of Inflection, the AI platform that performs real-time personalization for digital commerce. He's helped brands generate nearly $1 billion in digital commerce by creating automation that actually feels human. He's an incredible visionary in the affiliate marketing space, and I'm personally excited to see where he takes Inflection in the future. Hafiz Doza, what's up, man?
Hey, everyone. Good to be here.
Awesome. We've got a lot of ground to cover today, and before we get into it, I want to let the audience know that this is going to be an interactive webinar, and if you have any questions and comments, please add them to the Q&A section, and our panelists will address them in the end accordingly.
Justin, what about you, brother?
Oh, what about me?
Are you gonna say anything about you, dude?
I don't need an introduction too much, but thanks, Amber. Yeah. I'm just happy to be here and hanging out with this crowd. And I have my own
accolades too, brother.
Thanks for putting me on the spot, Amber. Appreciate it. Accolades, 15 years of experience in the affiliate space. And my favorite thing to do in life is network market. So just honored to be here with all these legends and excited to jump in. I won't have many thoughts today, but excited to pull out the questions and get the most out of this crowd. First question's going in for Joey. In wellness, authenticity is everything. What are the key elements you look for when evaluating whether a potential partnership with a creator and their audience will actually drive long-term value?
Yeah, it's a big question. There's a lot to it. Depends on your starting point. I think the big thing is are they real in a day where we can buy followers and fellowship and communities? That's the biggest thing for me. So what I look at is just metrics and engagement. So if you're looking at an IG person, right? Somebody on Instagram or TikTok, what's their follower count? And then what's also their average reel views? So if you look at their last 10 reels, what are they getting? And I piece that together to see even if they have 1 million followers, if they have 5K of views on their reels, I'm not that interested, right? They don't have that high of engagement. So it just depends on what you're trying to buy. Are you trying to buy their likeness or are you trying to buy their audience? And if you're looking for LTV, I'd want to be buying both. YouTube, it's the same thing. It's like subscribers is a great metric, but it's a vanity metric. So I also want to look at the last 10 videos, how many views are they actually getting relevant to the subscriber count? And there's a couple of podcast tools for anybody interested in doing podcasts, ads, interviews, sponsoring a show. Podchaser's one, and I'm not endorsing any of these. I don't have any affiliation. A Podchaser is something I've used. Magellan AI. The beauty of these tools, you can actually look at the retention rate of other brands who are advertising on the podcast. So if you see a drop off normally after 3 months or so. It's probably not a great show. But if you see advertisers sticking on for 12 months to 2 years, it's a good indication that something's working there. The other thing that we're really deeply integrated with is like, who are you selling to and where are they located? So there's tools you can use. Like for YouTube, I use Social Blade. And there's a whole bunch of different ones, right? There's Flanks for Instagram and all social platforms. But what I'm doing is if I know I'm selling to the US market, if I look at someone's follower count and they have 1 million followers, but only 100,000 of those people are in the US, I want to be tuned into that because I want to pay a CPM based on the followership that matters to me. And oftentimes we just get blinded by vanity metric. It's 5 million followers. Oh, this is awesome. But it's half of them are in a location they're never going to buy your product. So again, it's what's the intent? Is it you just want to use them for licensing and maybe meta ads and things like that's different. But if you're looking to drive LTV long term, you want the right audience. So there's a couple tools I'd use. The other thing is a 360 deal full integration. So a lot of people, like I know transactional management, it's a thing and it works. But I would say if you're looking to increase LTV for a very long time, it's like comparable to, we were just talking real estate a second ago, and I own a single family home and we're about to acquire a 6-unit rental. So you think about the proximity of like square footage of one area versus another, the 6-unit has much more potential, right? It's 6 people are living in here, it's 6 incomes versus a single family home. So as I'm evaluating influencers, I want to look at what's their primary channel, where do I expect to drive the most amount of sales, their primary impact. And then I also want to know what other channels do they have? Do they have a podcast? Do they have an email newsletter? Do they have a YouTube channel? I want to piece all this together. So when I come to them, I'm bringing the exact ask that I want. I want the full integration. And that's going to be my actual final output of what I want from them. But I would always test with the primary channel first. I wouldn't just go all in with an omni-channel deal right away. But after 3 months, I want to know where that's leading to after we have initial validity on this partner's test. So other thing too is, are they willing to do volume discounts? So we like to pave the way for, hey, if this works in 3 months, we want to sign you for 12 months. So we want to create the dream for them that once we get to this point, and this also gets their buy-in to actually make conversions for you, because then they see this 12-month deal, this 16, 18, 24-month deal. It's a long term. The other thing I would say is just quickly, know their numbers. They need to know their numbers. If they're not willing to give you screenshots of like stories and analytics, then either they just don't know how or they don't care, which means that I probably don't want to work with them. And even better than that would be like sales statistics. I don't have to give you like specifics on every brand of what they made, but overall like return on ad spend or ROI numbers or anything that's showing you that they understand analytics and numbers and metrics. The final one is just diamonds in the rough. There are so many people going after like The Rock and Kardashians and things like that. And it's such a big risk. To me, I want to find a person who's got consistent, great branded content, who understands the game, but who has not cracked the top level of influencer followership yet. So I'm looking for people with like 10,000, 20,000 followers that haven't really cracked the code, but they're on the verge of hockey stick growth. And if you could find those, you can lock them in at like day one rates. And you can get a sweet deal for the next 12 months. And then you get the friends of the friend discount as you continue to renegotiate with them in years to come. So those are like my top 5 things.
Beautifully said, Joey. A lot of great points there. I love the call out for Social Blade. Great old school tool that is still going strong. I love Upfluence. They have some really great metrics, even that metric of, is their audience real? What's the percentage of the followers that are real? Really clutch metric there. Amber, Avis, anything else to add in that aspect?
I'd say that the overall thing that I look for is going to be just like the affinity rating. And there's no one metric that exists for that, but like how much do the followers of that person follow exactly what they say? If the influencer says jump, will they jump? And so I think what Joey, you laid out there are some really good proxies for that. Like what's the renewal rate and things like that are really good ways to see as a proxy for how strong a following is. Because those are the metrics you don't see in engagement rates for like comments and things that are easier to manipulate, or the audience size, of course, and engagement. Or so that affinity rate, I think, is the core one for me. And the things that you said, Joey, are great proxies for that. And the other thing I think to look at there is more less of a metric, but it's just looking through the comments and seeing the kind of talk that's going on. Is it high value or low value? And that again is a good clue for how strongly the followers have an affinity to that influencer.
Great call. I use keywords everywhere. It's a $2 a month product, and it'll show you the engagement rate of each influencer that is on Instagram. So super easy to figure out whether they're getting the comments and engagement that you're really going to care about for that. All right, Amber, after we identify whether a partner is a good target, companies employ either a methodology of reaching out with very simple message or very spray and pray, if you will, methodology in recruiting partners. You've seen hundreds of programs up close. What do you do most with spray and pray outreach strategies when you see them fail, especially in the health and wellness space?
A couple of things. One, I think just hearing someone like Joy Hafiz, this is such a great time to be in affiliate marketing. Like I've been doing it for 14 years, and the wide array of tools that we have at our disposal, everything from Social Blade to Affy Stash to Inflection, like you name it, there's never been a better time to actually be in affiliate marketing in that way, because you have so many things that can supercharge you if you're in that spot as the affiliate manager. So I think that is just one thing, just hearing just the opening of this is this is a good reminder. One, that you can have all these tools and networks that you can use to find affiliates easier than you ever could have. The other part of that is how competitive that it's becoming because you have all of those tools. So I think it's a double-edged sword, but I'm on the optimistic side of it, that I think it's a really wonderful thing. Also, for any of the business owners listening, these are the types of things that you should be investing in for your affiliate team to be utilizing, because a lot of people just want to rely on quote unquote their relationships, which I think is not a smart strategy, as you need to empower your team to have the right tools, the right software, and also an actual budget to be able to do things like go to events and represent. So it's just a good reminder of hearing it, that it's never easier time to actually be able to do this job. And it's also the responsibility of the company to be able to invest into their teams, and not just their continued education, but the actual tools at their disposal. So that's just one note. The other thing is, I think in health and wellness in particular, and in let's just talk about spray and pray. I think spray and pray is, it's a volume play, and with AI, make it feel personalized. I do
Mm.
think that when it comes to health and wellness influencers, it's really important to understand that each one of them has their own tribal approach to things, right? So if you're talking to a biohacker versus someone who's functional movement versus someone who's carnivore versus someone who's focused on hormones, it's really important to understand the lens that they're coming from and teaching on, and not have them reject you right away because you don't actually understand what they're teaching and what their methodology is. And I see that happen all the time on the back end of programs, is they really want to work with somebody like a JJ Virgin or a wellness mama. And it's, we want JJ Virgin to promote my vegan protein powder. And it's, if you know anything about her, you know that she's not going to endorse that because she eats a lot of protein, animal protein. You know what I mean? And so I just think that's like something to understand. Or you're talking to somebody like an Isabel Wentz, and your products might have gluten in them, which is, she's the Hashimoto's queen. Gluten is something that's going to inflame an autoimmune condition. So I think really understanding how your products and services fit with these types of influencers is especially critical if they have a following and they have a brand, and really understanding the difference between the traditional affiliate media buyer versus a health and wellness influencer that has that face, and the nuances that come with those types of partners, I think is really important. So for me, I think it's fine to like spray and pray, but if you're spraying and praying, what's cool about utilizing some of these tools, even let's say Inflection with the personalization, like understanding that you're reaching out to all carnivore people with this messaging, or you're reaching out to all autoimmune people with this messaging, just so that it's spray and pray still, but at the very least, you're talking to them about the things that are going to work for their audience, and you show that you have an understanding of how your product is going to work within the things that they care about, that matches their protocols, that matches their recommendations. Because I think that's the way that you start to build trust with them immediately, is not just, oh, this is going to work well for you because you're a health and wellness influencer. It's going to work well for you because you're in carnivore, or because you care about functional movement patterns or whatever. And just really understanding that this is, for a lot of them, their life's work. It's not just like some thing that they spun up. This is truly like at the core, their life's work. It's what they've invested a lot of time, energy, and effort, whether it's getting their doctorate degrees in it or overcoming a very painful condition. Maybe they beat cancer, or maybe they beat an autoimmune condition. So it's deeply personal to a lot of these people that I don't think a lot of affiliate managers take the time to really understand.
So true. And you brought up Gigi Virgin and the vegan example. You'd have to be a hell of a salesman to get her to sign off on that and have a hell of a product to be able to get her to jump in on that. But that just brings home your point. Like, the more research you do on individuals that you find that are going to be super powerful it's just going to enhance the way that you outreach and make your message clear. When you're doing the spray and pray, you just don't have those options. And Joey, do you subscribe to that theory when you're doing the outreach? Find that doing spray and pray has dissipated in the last 5 years in comparison to what it was before.
Yeah, I think there's a place for it. Like I think of it like a fishing boat, and you see these big nets going across the boats, picking up like all the small fish, and then you might have a guy who's a really good fishing angler who's like casting and trying to get like the big fish. You know what I mean? So I think it plays a part. You can use it as part of your overall strategy in your ecosystem, but it's not going to be effective at getting some of these more notable people you want to get in touch with. It's going to take a deeper level of integration. And this is where one of the things I keep thinking of is like in the world of AI, we want to be human. We want to use AI to our advantage and benefit from it and be more productive, but we don't want to replace it with what only a human can do, which is be human and communicate in a human way. And a lot of people now are just leveraging AI too much, and it's going to get lost in the midst of everything else happening. So I agree with everything Amber said. Like, we deal with a lot of highly recognizable people out there that you need to be in touch with their mission more than anything. You need to know, they need to know you're supporting your mission and need to be aligned that this product or this service is going to actually help their audience, not just help you.
100%.
Great calls. All right. So we've established that spray and pray doesn't necessarily work in 2025. There's a place for it, but it is not nearly as effective as it was in the past when we're going for outreach. But what about in the funnel? Most marketing teams want personalization, but they're overwhelmed by the scaling aspect of it. So, Hafiz, what's your take when it comes to generic spray and pray for the funnel, and how has technology shifted over the last couple of years?
Yeah, thanks for that. I think the core problem with generic funnels is simple. It's that they treat every partner and every audience as the same, but the same product can mean like different things to depending on who's buying it. So for example, a mother, an athlete, a biohacker may all use the same product, but for different reasons. I think it's even more pronounced in health and wellness. So if you leave it to chance and expect people to connect the dots themselves, you're going to have people bounce. That's literally why copywriting exists as an industry in the first place, is to create messaging that bridges the gap between a product and where it's at and a person's unique needs, and then bridge that gap for them. But the catch is with partnerships, you're not just doing it for one audience that's unique, you're doing it for dozens of audiences at the same time. And that used to be impossible at scale, challenging, let's say, at scale to do that. And here's why it matters. It's because when a partner promotes a brand, but the funnel doesn't convert because the messaging doesn't align with their audience, they're not going to keep promoting it. And you end up churning through partners, and basically you're pouring water into a leaky bucket, and all that work you did using the stuff that like Joey and Amber just talked about, all that great advice there into recruiting them, is going to be going to waste essentially. And so that's why, like you mentioned, like what's happened in the last couple of years, that it's been magical with AI, because things have completely changed with that. AI now lets you get that personalization, and it does like the two hardest parts of the whole thing for you automatically. First, it's going to be pulling in the insights from reviews, from surveys, the behavioral data, things like that, on what each audience really cares about, things like jobs to be done, or if you want to use a framework around that. And then the second thing is it like spins up custom landing pages, ad creatives, email copy, podcast scripts, things like that speak directly to those needs. And now that's much easier as well too. Basically like analyzing data on one end and writing copy, AI excels at that. You can go on LinkedIn, Twitter, or anything like that and see lots of examples on how to do that. And then in the partnership space, it's about putting it together in those kind of unique needs. And it's all about basically building hooks and angles catered to each audience and their use cases. I think a really good example is with the product like the Oura Ring. Like here, I use one of these. It's like a Fitbit on your finger if you haven't seen one before. And at its core, it helps you sleep better. But nobody wants to sleep just for sleep. They want what sleep makes possible. Things like for a busy executive, it's going to be like focus. For an athlete, it's going to be like recovery and muscle gain. For a beauty blogger, it's going to be like glowing skin. For a poker player, it could be like mental sharpness. But if you try to lump all those kind of use cases into one generic funnel, you're going to basically lose people in that. And instead, if you use AI to have the funnel mirror back their reason for caring about a product, that's when you're going to see conversion rates jump. So basically, overall, stop asking the customers to find themselves in your funnel and instead build the bridge for them automatically. And that's win number one. And more importantly, in my opinion, is when partners make more money because you went and did that and the conversion rates increase, they're going to promote more often. So that's the double win. And now you're going to make this channel exponential. Yeah. And so overall, if I were to, in fact, invent like a KPI for the health of a affiliate or influencer program, it would actually probably be like the rate at which a partner continues to promote again instead of just churning. And then you can build it instead of like brick by brick, instead of just pouring water into that leaky bucket I mentioned earlier.
Oh, great point. The personalization factor can be a huge aspect of recruiting partners as well, having that recognition that the conversion rates are going to go up with that landing page that you're building for them is a big selling point. And Joey, we had a really good question in the Q&A here. Have you found personalized video message help when reaching out?
Yeah, I was thinking about personalization. I'll give one quick example because it feeds the idea for why you need to personalize. We back in the day of 2017, when I didn't really even know what a podcast was, I thought it was people with CB radios in their basement talking to each other. Like I was completely out of the loop. We ended up doing a spray and pray type of outreach thing, right? And from that, Dave Asprey came through, and Dave Asprey is a pretty big name still, but at the time it was like the biggest name that we could possibly get in a podcast, and it changed the game and trajectory of the whole company. And his page was converting like 9-10%, which was really good. And then all of a sudden we added his image to the page, and then we added a testimonial. And we went from 10% to 15%. And then we added more like UGCs, more integration of him and our brand, and went to 20%. We didn't have to pay anything more to Dave. He just gave that to us for our marketing efforts. But that's the level that it can take you in terms of performance efficiency when you start to personalize things. And so with the video card, I was going to say video cards, but video cards are a way that you can also send video messages, depending on your stance on eco-friendly. You may or may not want to do this with some people, but definitely another way to do that is you could just also do like a small business card with a QR code that if they scan, they'll actually see your custom video to them. And you just want to be mindful of that, like never more than 60 seconds. And if not, even just like 30 seconds, these people's time is super valuable and they probably get a lot of these messages. So you don't want to be like going on and on, but it does work. And it's one prong in the wheel, right? There's a bunch of different ways to do this and you need to hit them from all different angles. The spray and pray, the personalization, like just everything going in on this like final input. So I look at it as one prong in the entire spoke of the wheel, but there's definitely more ways than just that.
Said. Amber, any other thoughts before we move on there?
No, I just love how smart my friends are. And I'm also just thinking about in 2017, Joey, what that required, right? It required dev team like to make that personalized page, to put the user generated content, to put the picture of Dave, to get the quote, to do all those things. Like it was far more labor intensive. And I think of how many launches that I've done or evergreen funnels that I've done in the past where that was just a huge amount of labor and time. And you had to have a copywriter create the custom content and review all their stuff. And it's like a human being and you're waiting. And like now with something like Inflection, you can do that in seconds and it's pretty amazing. I just think that we don't quite understand the impact. And one of the things that I see and have seen over the years, especially in my time of training affiliate managers, is a resistance to using these tools. And I do think that there's something to be said for old school. I'm old school as hell. I'm still going to pick up the phone. I'm still going to network. I'm still going to be pressing the flesh. I'm still going to be doing all that stuff because I think at the end of the day, that's what helps build human connection. But if you have the willingness and tenacity of an old school salesperson equipped with tools like this, like you can supercharge yourself and be 3 different salespeople and run a very efficient department instead of what it was in the past. And I just think that a lot of affiliate managers that I see in general are very resistant to actually utilizing and learning these tools, not just ChatGPT and learning how to write custom outreach scripts, but actually utilizing these tools and changing tech stacks is another thing. Because there's going to be a lot of resistance probably if you're on Infusionsoft or you're on Entreport or you're whatever, moving over to a platform like Inflection, there's going to be that resistance. But it's like, why would you not do that? If you have the ability to add these tools to supercharge your personalization, that would require you still on a lot of these platforms to be working with both a dev team and a copywriting team, right? And so now you have the ability to switch over to these tools, and I just think it's a very smart thing to do.
Awesome. We got a quick poll question. Utilizing the Q&A here, just put a number by what your answer is here. We'll have 5 options. Speaking of personalization here, how many people on this call are taking advantage of personalization within your affiliate program and with your partners? Answer number 1, no, I haven't tried it yet. Number 2, dabbled, but we have a few partners with custom landing pages. Number 3 is all my biggest partners. Number 4 is we do it for all partners. And number 5 is I don't even have an affiliate program. So if you could add that to the Q&A, just I'll quickly add up. Thank you for the participation there. 1, 3. Awesome. I'm going to come back to these results here at the end while we keep on going and moving down the line. So a lot of brands default to the transactional outreach. So sending a commission rate that hopes that's going to be enough for the partner to be joining up. Joey, what does authentic outreach look like in 2025, and how do you coach your team and practice this?
Yeah. So I talked about like Dave Asprey. He came from the automated always on outreach campaign. So I'd still want to do that because sometimes we all know this, we're not emailing like Dave Asprey directly. He's not checking his emails, but you might get in our case, it was the executive producer. And she was hungry for more podcast ads. She just started to build this channel for Dave. So I think that still do that, but just know that it's not, oh, great, I'm going to see all the wonderful efforts from this. I'm going to get all the top partners. It's keep that as an always on campaign. And then to your point, Dustin, it's like now we need to really fully integrate and again, be human and use AI to our advantage to help us be more human and more productive. And Amber's mentioned this quite a bit too. It's just like you need to get to know them. You need to get to know them, care about them, understand what their mission is, and if it's truly a fit. People can see through like fakeness. It's the most important time in life, and especially in this era with AI, to be authentic as possible. So when I care about them, it's not going to their profile and just being like, great post and liking it. It's going to level deeper to that. Another way too, if you're like brand new to this, it might not work, but if you have an existing network, I always go to the friend of the friend, like the 6 degrees of separation. Somebody might know this person, and a warm intro goes far beyond just like cold outreach all the time. So we use that quite a bit now that our network has gotten as diverse as it has. But you have some tactical things that you can do for personalizing outreach. So number 1, our team follows everybody. They're daily looking at their profile, just as if they were to look at a friend's profile, like what's going on in their life and interacting in an authentic way. A couple of little things that we've done, and this is really the abundance mentality versus scarcity base. So depending on who's listening to this, you might not be ready for it or not. So no judgment, but you have to be willing to invest in the relationship. And for me, we've done everything from donating to somebody's charity that we know that they believe in and going to them and saying, hey, just want to let you know that we're really interested in working together, but we're also interested in your mission. And we've done this donation to this charity. And yeah, they can see through it. They know what you're really trying to do, but it's intention. It's a good intention to put out there, and it's more than what other people are doing. Another thing that I've done, and if budget's a concern, you don't have to buy people things, but you can add value to their life. And liking their post isn't really adding value, but sometimes somebody has a new podcast or has a podcast and you just go leave a review. I take a screenshot of that review, 5-star, love the podcast. And I also say that I've shared it with like our network of people. There's ways to add value without being transactional and actually having to purchase something for the person. And I've also taken screenshots of people's posts. So not just liking it, but taking a screenshot of something deeply buried in the archives, especially, And then relating that back to my life, if they have a dog and I love dogs as well, I'll just be like, hey, cute dog. And I want to let you know, I just lost my dog 6 months ago. It's been really hard. So you enter this whole other story on a personal level versus hey, can we work together? People will always say yes to working together, but it's going to come at a different price point than if you enter the conversation on a more personal level. Screenshot of you leaving physical. So we talked about personalizing messages. So like looms are great, but they're the lowest friction. So it's like the least amount of effort. But if you were to send them again, like a business card with a QR code where they can get it in the mail, physical mailers, by the way, not a lot of people get physical mail anymore. And usually it's like bills or taxes or something. So it's like a welcome change when you get something from somebody. It's, oh, wow, what's this? Scan it, video pops up, easy call to action, maybe like book a call or something. That's worked really well. Physical mailers, again, be conscious of eco-friendly people, including yourself if you don't believe in this, but if you don't care, we've actually ordered a bunch of products from China in terms of like LCD cards. And you just record it, you upload it to the card, you send it out. It's nicely branded too. They worked really well. They closed some of our biggest partnerships, but it does take a lot more effort and the investment's a lot higher in that regard. We always lead with no strings attached. We never do like, we're going to give you a product, but we expect the post. That's very transactional. I want to be like, no, I want you to be happy with this product. I want to make sure you like it. I want to make sure you try it before we even talk about any kind of deal. And that lets them feel like, oh, okay, there's nothing for me to do here. I just got to try this product. I'm in. Another big one too is I don't look at events as ROI anymore. We went to so many events and like we still do, but we never see a great return. And a friend of mine introduced me to the concept instead of ROI, it's ROR, return on relationship. Going to events, walking the floor, going to these people, introducing yourself just so they have a face to the name when they get an email. That's been a big thing for us. We've stopped sponsoring events as much. We've actually just now gotten our teams to go to events, walk the floor, not just for the big names, but for the people walking the floor, looking to build their followership, to also integrate on the same level with these partners that we're looking to do, but just from a different intent perspective. And then on a call, the main thing is that this is a sales call. We really have to treat this as it is a sales position. When you're talking to an influencer, you're looking to do a deal, you can still do DMs and emails and stuff to get the foot in the door, but ultimately we want to get on a call and we want to learn about what they're doing and their mission. And there's kind of 7 steps. And anybody who's done sales, there might be different frameworks of this. Number 1, build a rapport. Number 2, find the pain and obstacles related to other brands. What are they experiencing that they hate? I hate when people just give me a commission because my time's worth so much more. And it's, oh yeah, of course. Like you take so much time to prepare your content. Like why would a commission make sense for you? Reach them at their level. What are their pain points? Because you're going to use that in the negotiation later on. Identify their dream. Like, what are they trying to build here? Because money's part of it, but there's a bigger mission. There's a bigger idea here that you want to let them tell you. You want to listen as much as possible. Demonstrate future success. So if you have case studies of other people that you've worked with, that you can paint the picture. Sounds like you're really relatable to John Smith. John Smith started with us like 6 months ago. Now he's doing XYZ related back to the pain points that we're solving for them. And then I like to qualify them. So I really want to make sure that when I come to the call, I know what I'm ready and prepared to offer and what my bumpers are. And I'm not willing to negotiate outside of those. And I'm okay walking away from the deal. And then we also do ethical urgency and scarcity. So I really want to emphasize ethical. So it's not, we only have 5 left or something and it's, you have 100 in the stock room, right? So I always like to say, we have a budget for Q3. We need to hit that budget. And so far we're at like this, we only have a couple more weeks. Or you could say that we're looking to close 10 more partners for this promotion happening in 6 weeks. And it's first come, first served. So we really liked what you're doing, but if you're not interested, we're going to have to move on and maybe we can circle back in Q4. And then 7th thing is just congratulate them on when they say yes. I never say thank you. I say, congratulations, you just made like an amazing decision. And these products change my life. They're going to change your life and it's going to change the audience. It's going to have a bigger impact on your mission and all your fellowship to come. So those are the big things, really personalizing Giving things outside of your products too is a big thing. Like, I don't just send them a product sometimes. I'll send them, if they have a dog again, I'll send them maybe this wonderful dog collar that I think they might like, or something that is outside of like just my product plug. That's been really effective because it shows that like we're actually tuned into what they're doing and not just tuned into making a deal with them.
Wow. Tons of value in there, Joey. Incredible insights. Love to expand. You mentioned going to the conferences. One of my favorite hacks is going to the speaker sessions and going and talking to them right after their session, giving them a compliment, and then introducing yourself. It makes it so much easier to get a hold of them after the conference. Great points in there, and super brilliant with the actual mail, sending them mail. Like, I've never even considered that option. Super smart. And Amber, you are one of the best people I've ever seen at working a room. Once people get to know you, they want to help you and you want to help them, and you make it very clear. And it's just warm and it's welcoming. But that first touch point, what's the framework for vetting partners and making them feel like really seen on that first time that you're meeting up with them or reaching out?
Good question. I think whoever's in that position has to be somebody that people like. You have to like people also. I think that's something that I see from a lot of people. That being said, what Joey said before is something that I say all the time. This is first and foremost a selling position. So I think it's really important when you're going into a room that you understand who it is that you're trying to go for. I see so many affiliate managers are like, I'm just going to go meet every single person and shake every single hand. And while that's valuable in a sense to kind of build your reputation and get, I think, introductions and things like that. And you also always want to be kind, right? Because you never know who's going to be the next Dave Asprey or who's going to be the next JJ. So I think it is important. But I also think that people get so lost in the networking of it. I just went to CreatorCon this past weekend and I had a target list of 10 people that I wanted to meet. And I met 9 of them. And I spent time with those people when I was there. I just wanted to make sure that I had those right connections and exactly what I was looking for in terms of sponsors. For example, I don't need any more merchant processing sponsors. I just blew right by them when I was there. I know what I'm looking for when I'm looking for it at events, and I know who I want to meet, whether I know their name or whether I know what they can actually do for our business. So I think that's really important is having a target in mind when you're vetting partners. It's not just, oh, I want to meet wellness influencers. It's like, I want to meet wellness influencers that do this, that have this level of engagement, that are showing up and have an Instagram and they have an email list of this size and they have whatever. Just getting very clear in terms of what you're looking for. I think it's a huge misstep opportunity when people are going out and actually working. And it sounds very basic, but it's not. I can't tell you how many people literally walk in and they're like, I'm just going to walk the whole floor. And that's not how I operated when I was working the floors. Like, I'd meet everybody at certain points if it made sense, but like I had an idea in mind of what I want to achieve when I'm there. And it's the same thing in terms of vetting partners. It's, does your entire team know exactly what you're doing and exactly who you're going after? Can they rattle it off like this fast and be like, these are the types of influencers we're looking for? And I think on the other side too, it's like we talk a lot about influencers on this call, but the fact of the matter is that there's going to be 2 types of affiliates. There's going to be missionaries and there's going to be mercenaries. And so at the end of the day, if you don't want your revenue to be like this, right? Because when you're working with influencers, you're going to have the spurt of them promoting and talking about it, maybe on their stories or on their posts or whatever. But unless you have a bunch of them going all at once every day, your revenue is going to be like this. So having a strategy of, I'm going to work with media buying affiliates that really, at the end of the day, don't truly care about anything that you're doing for the most part, as long as the product's not bad. I think that's like understanding, like, if my goal is to grow over month, I'm going to need to work with both types. I'm going to need to work with influencers and creators. I'm also going to need to work with media buyers. So I have that steady flow. When you're walking in to any room or you're talking to your team about what we're looking for, I think it's important to understand what is the strategy and what is the diversification that we have inside of our affiliate program as well. Because if we're only relying on one type of affiliate, on one type of platform, I think it puts us at extreme risk. So that's always something that I'm looking at in terms of building out affiliate programs is, what is our actual diversification in this? And do we have the ability to have somebody that's going to be sending us sales every single day, whether they're media buying or whether maybe we're in their autoresponder sequence, or maybe we're doing some sort of thing with them on their thank you page or we're sponsoring their podcast, some way of like continuously integrating with them over time. I just think is really important, and really understanding what you're doing. And echoing Joey, the fastest way that I've grown is by getting referrals. And getting referrals means, at a sales perspective, you're quick to answer when they introduce you. They have a very clear idea of what type of person to introduce you to. You have conversations with them about what is your past history with this affiliate, what's the volume that they've done. Really understanding that from the vetting point of your affiliate partner that's introducing you, I think is so important. And I don't think we have those types of conversations as much as we should. And I think that's a huge part of that sales hunting ability, right? That's something that like a salesperson would do. And if they're not doing it, they can be trained into sales, but that's part of that hunting. I don't want to just meet random affiliate manager number one. Like, what is random affiliate manager number one going to do for me right now? I understand the value of building that relationship over time, but I want to understand how that's going to meet my goals right now, who they're currently working with. If it's all erectile dysfunction offers and they have a male centric offer, why am I talking to them if I'm representing a female hormone offer? Yeah, that connection's valuable because they're valuable as a human, and like we're peers in that area, but that's not really valuable to like my end goals at this moment. And I think so many people get so caught up in being so nice and forgetting that part of being nice is also being nice and kind to yourself and the brand that you're representing. And you have a responsibility in this role to bring the revenue. That's your job. And so really understanding that and really focusing on what's going to really move the needle for me in terms of that consistent month over month, year after year kind of growth. And that's just like a huge part of it, is knowing exactly who you're looking for, making sure your whole team knows who you're looking for, making sure that you're prepared when you go into conversations, making sure you're prepared when you go into conferences, and not just spending time with all the people that you know because that's who you're comfortable with.
Oh, great call on that, Amber. Oftentimes I get caught up in the, not just I'm working for this client at this time at this conference, but I'm also thinking of the future. Oh, this could be a really good connection years down the line. And having that connection and making those conversations might be valuable for the future, but you still have to stay focused when you're in the zone at a conference like that. Great call out.
You want to spend time though, dude. Of course, you want to spend time with people that you know and that you love. But like, if you're at a 4-day conference, I wouldn't have dinner every single night with the same people. I would have a set time. Maybe you host. That's what got me really successful. Is I started hosting my own parties, my own dinners, and that way you can control like the flow. I don't know, Amaya, if that might be you. I can just hear some sound, but I think it's important to have the mentality of I'm a farmer and a hunter. Like, I don't want to ever turn away people that I've had long-standing relationships with. They're so valuable and so important. But if you're in this role, at the end of the day, it's a sales role and it requires prospecting and retention, and constantly like measuring that against yourself. Like, how much prospecting have I done this week? How much like new business have we added that's meaningful? Right. And what would I do if my top affiliate partners left? That's a problem. I need to be talking to them on a regular basis and understanding how we can be better partners to them as well. Not just it being like a scarcity, like I'm trying to protect you so no one else takes you, just like really having those conversations. But I just think it's such an important thing. It's, if you're not prospecting for new business that's quality, like your overall revenue of the company is going to go down. So just really understanding that.
Great call, Amber. All right, moving on to a feast, like offering up the customized landing pages sounds like it's been super helpful for brands that are on inflection. Can you walk us through some real world examples where personalization directly improved the partner engagement or the conversions?
Yeah, for sure. Happy to do that. I'm going to share my screen for some of this stuff right here. So I like this brand here. It's a supplement, but it's a customized supplement. So they can draw your blood, you do a quiz, figure out your health goals, and they make a supplement just for you and your body based on what you're deficient in. Used by people like Cristiano Ronaldo and other athletes like that. And this is their generic lander. When they're promoting their product, you can see literally all the source ingredients that could be in your product. And the reason I like this as an example is because the number of angles, the number of possibilities are literally endless because of all the use cases of different combinations you can have. And so this is the generic lander, but I'm going to use one for this person right here. His name is Mike Thurston. He's a big workout YouTuber. Definitely, as you can see, cares about his physique, and it shows. And so I'm going to show what that looks like here if I go to now his lander as well. So while that loads here, so you can see now it's completely different headline than before. Are you feeling your peak performance? It's talking about gym goers. It talks about how do you push harder, recover faster, look your best. So not only is it about the actual athletic gains, but as you can see, he does have a body that looks, it's show and go, I guess. And the copy is catered to that, right? Engineered for visible results. And this wasn't copy that any copywriter wrote. It was all AI generated, and it did it by looking at his audience. One of the videos he talks about, if you go on his YouTube, it has fancy cars and the gym and all that. So it's definitely like it picked up on the nuances. It's not just about the gym in general. It's about that kind of lifestyle overall. And just so you can understand some of the impact of what this can do, I actually have some of the numbers for what this can actually change in terms of the performance of the bottom line for comparison here. The result of this was that conversions were up 50%. His payouts were up. The conversion rate was up. In fact, he achieved all this with less traffic. EPCs, or earnings per click, how much he makes, was up for every eyeball he sent over. And even it ended up with some large purchasers too, because the AOV was up as well too. So that just shows like the actual bottom line impact of doing this kind of work. And just for a couple of changes on the page there. Here's another example for a different brand where they had like a sleep affiliate and a female fitness influencer, very different audiences. And they saw like just from the headline, sub-headline changes only 43 and 94% increases in conversion rates. So this kind of stuff can definitely change literally the unit economics of the channel. I'll share some other examples of like how some of the differences. Like this is one for Aura Ring, for example. And it's got an example of Lindsey Vonn promoting Aura. And you can see it's got her name, her image. This is some of the stuff Joey talked about earlier on the call, her testimonial, things like that. And all that's personalized in real time off what would otherwise be a completely generic page. And I'll compare that with another partner here. This is Tia Claire Toomey. She's an Australian CrossFit athlete. So again, name, image, testimonial, all that kind of stuff. That works. Our data adds 15 to 30, 40% increase in conversion rate. And that's what we call co-branding. But the real difference, where the magic really happens, is the fact that the copy on the page changes. So here, as a CrossFit athlete, her audience are all CrossFitters too. So it talks about how to use Aura to like train harder, recover faster, gain the edge against your competition, things that speak to a CrossFit audience and what their mentality is. And so that's why this page ended up converting really well. And in terms of like how to go about doing this for yourself, there's a number of things I recommend. One is to basically use something like a jobs to be done framework. If you haven't heard of that before, just go YouTube that. And there's lots of great videos on that. Reading customer reviews, listening to customer stories, even like doing surveys are great with your existing customer base and asking questions like, if you could wave a magic wand, what would you want, insert your product name, to do for you? Or another good one is, what in your life triggered you first to realize you need to buy, and then again, insert your product name. And those kind of questions get at the heart of like why people are buying and what their unique use cases are. And then you can give you a bunch of other survey questions at the end of this too, as well, the specific questions we use. And then remember what I said earlier about having AI do all that heavy lifting to analyze that data. Don't do multiple choice questions where you force people into buckets. That was so 2022. Instead, just leave it open-ended, let AI analyze all that data. It's really good at that. And then all that kind of stuff essentially translates into your marketing angles. And that's bringing like the tactics that like super affiliates use for their promotions, and then bringing it more to the e-com or to the brand world. And then have AI take your existing landing pages and then write copy for the emails, all the creative assets you have, and write copy that caters to those angles and hits them. So that's the overall approach. And in a nutshell, like you can literally see like the unit economics of the channel change when you do this kind of stuff.
Pretty
I'll
incredible
just jump
stuff.
in there, Dustin, too. I want to say we used to have 3 devs managing this for us, and we had a team of copywriters manually using AI to figure out the copy. Like the fact that this could be done on like a push button system and then re-implemented on templates. Like we used to have to change 100 templates. If the color changed on a piece of copy or something, it was ridiculous. But it made me appreciate when we got a tool like this. And this is the difference between when you launch a campaign with somebody and you go, oh crap, I didn't back out the investment, versus, oh, it's working, let's keep going. Like 10, 20% bump in like conversions or LTV is massive when it compounds. And I haven't even seen the AI feature, Havis, that you just showed. So that's like brand new to me in terms of like it's writing your own copy. That's like a complete game changer because I know like we were going to go the route of writing all this ourselves with AI, but the fact that it can just do this with surveys and stuff, like, yeah, it's just, it's powerful.
Totally agree. Like those are great examples. This is when I found Inflection almost 2 years ago at this point. Like I was blown away by the ease of it as an affiliate manager, and building those landing pages has just become even easier on this platform. Can you show people how easy it is, like a real quick format?
Yeah, for sure. I'll share my screen again. Yeah, happy to walk through this. I'll first show like this. This is like the generic liner. This is a demo Shopify site. It sells some gummies, nothing fancy here. You can see a simple product page here. And so first thing that I'll show you here is that like the partners in their own portal, or you can do it as a white glove for them, can add their own like name, put a testimonial, upload a photo, things like that. And that's going to appear on the landing page, and it can be done like in the back end as well too, if you want for them, or they can do it themselves. And I'll show you what happens now when I go to that page here. And so I'm going to use a biohacker example here too. Everyone's picked on Dave Asprey on this call, so I'm going to use him as well too. So you can see it's added the image, the name there in your email capture. So the opt-in rates go up. It puts the testimonial there. All that's done dynamically, no extra work, no cloning pages, no dev team involved. And that's the difference, the first bit of personalization. But I showed you all the content that changes as well too. Yeah, if you haven't heard of Dave Asprey, he's a biohacker. He calls him even like the father of biohacking. He's the one that kind of brought it to the prominence there. And what I'll show you here is now what it looks like to build this page out. So what I'm going to load up the landing page here in our tool here. It's going to open the website, the same website, but it's going to wrap it in an editor here as well too. So now I can change certain elements. If I want to change the copy of the headline, for example, I can go do that. But I'm going to instead just click on generate AI suggestions. And what that's doing is it's going to look at how this page is built out. It's going to use AI to understand it and how it can be a good advocate for the product itself and learn on the fly here. Then it's going to look at all the content that Dave puts out on his social media, watches all his TikToks, watches his reels, it's already listening to his email newsletter and downloading every piece of email he ever sends, watches his podcast, things like that. Uses that to understand basically like who the audience is, what they're interested in, and then how I can bridge the gap between this product and his audience. And then with that, it's going to generate multiple variations of new copy that are more relevant for their audience. And then it's going to show you all that here in just a second here. And essentially, this is how that page I showed you for Bionic and Mike Thurston was built out as well too. So the first thing it shows you is like the audience insights, figures out the demographics, the psychographics, just from looking at the content. There's no like hard coding, if anything here. So it figures out he's a biohacker, self-quantification, against like conventional health myths, things like that. And now I can go through the copy here. And so I can, let's pick a new headline. So instead of this generic product title here, let's make it something around biohacker related here. So I just click on replace. Instead of this right here, I'll do something around, Nick, here's a good one, without synthetic junk. Like his audience cares about that as well too. So highlighting those kind of unique elements there. So you can keep going through the page. Here's one example here. We can pick one for this. And then again, let's go biohacker. Then I hit save. And then now when I go to his page again, what it's going to do is it's going to load the new copy here as if that was baked into the page. And so all that's ready to go. You can just hit save, it's live. And now you have a personalized page. And then the other thing that we do also differently is like we bring marketing resources into the platforms, like brand guidelines and briefs, image assets, email creative templates, things like that, social media scripts, and even like ad reads and podcast scripts and all that. And so now these are also AI generated as well too. So I can put in something like, let's generate like an ad read here. So I can do something he's a podcaster. So I'll put in like this prompt here. You don't have to put a story, but you can add a personal story or anecdote to make it even more custom. Choose the product that he's promoting here. And what it's going to do is it's going to generate a bunch of different openings that you can pick between, like the hooks that you can then narrow down. and it'll come up with a few suggestions. Here again, it's doing the same thing. It's looking at all his content and seeing how it can match it to the product. Plus now in this case, incorporating that personal story as well too.
Awesome. That's pretty incredible stuff, what AI is doing and what you guys have implemented over there. We have just 2 more minutes in this webinar here, and I want to get some final thoughts from Joey, Amber, and Hafiz. Thank you for sharing that, Hafiz. Appreciate it. With this one last minute, what do you guys think? What's like the biggest recommendation you can give to folks in 2025 and beyond of one action item to take for personalization? Amber, we can start with you.
Besides getting on inflection, you look at that and you're like, dude, what's cool about that is you can collapse so many things. You can now be a web designer and a copywriter and everything else. I think it's smart. I really do think that nothing beats the basics, though. Like, I would be focusing on filtering who you need to meet, asking your network for introductions, which means you have to be a good introduction partner and take care of the people that are around you. Because I think at the end of the day, like affiliate managers and affiliate teams are really the hidden web of connection, and you need to be a good referral partner and a good friend to them. So I think that's step one, and asking them to connect you. There's nothing better than a warm intro. There's nothing better than having it. I think that's the fastest, cheapest shortcut. I also think going to places where these people are and spending money to be in those places. I think investing into the different tools that you've talked about today outside of Inflection is really smart. But I think at the end of the day, like whatever it takes, dude. Like for me, I'll record some videos of myself talking to affiliates or friends that I want to come to my events, or I want to promote my clients' products or whatever. There's like really nothing that beats that. Like all of these tools can supercharge you and help you tremendously, especially like bringing them in or retaining them. But I still think that I'm old school in that way, that nothing matters more than really building good relationships and being willing to answer the phone or help other people. Like right now, I'm helping one of my friends that is in dire need of some more affiliates for his launch. He's helped me a bunch of times and I'm going to do it. That's just like what it takes in this industry. And with all these tools, like I still think we need to remember that it goes both ways. Be a good partner
Sure.
to the brands that you're representing, to the other affiliate managers in the cockpit, driving these teams and brands forward, and just be willing to share resources, including what types of affiliate partners are working well with you, but not be so stingy with information or with resources. I think is the fastest way to really grow.
Awesome. Speaking
Yeah,
of
I would-
resources, Hafiz, do you have anything that you want to share?
Yeah, I just want to also second what Amber said. Yeah, it's not about
Yeah.
not about using technology to replace the stuff that the humans can do. It's about using technology to leverage the time and leverage yourself to augment that and to free up and automate all the nitty-gritty work that I know every affiliate manager does not like doing. And then so that you can invest the time in the relationships, and there's only a finite amount of time in the day. And so that's where technology can play a role. But yeah, the other, we touched a lot on customization of outreach and landers and all that kind of stuff today. We have a framework that we use called the SCALE formula, SCALE. The C in that stands for customizations. There's still 4 other letters there, and we don't have time to cover all that today. But if you want to learn more about that, I'd recommend getting that at inflection.a/scale and downloading that. And Black Friday and Q4 is coming up pretty quick now. So picking one of those letters a week and hammering through that, you can, I think, really transform your program by then.
Awesome. Any final thoughts there, Joey?
No, I think amazing information, just what an age we live in. And the one takeaway for me is, who's the operator behind all these wonderful systems? What's the thinking going behind when you're using Inflection or using AI? And I coached with David Bayer last year, and it was like an amazing year. And I just have Amber to thank for the intro and the synergy that she provided for that to happen. But it's really abundance over scarcity. If you're thinking to yourself, should I invest in this tool versus if this tool works, what would it change in my business and how would it compound over time? If you're thinking like, what if this doesn't work out all the time, or why won't they pick up my call? Your thinking plays a huge role in everything you're doing. So regardless of tactics that we're talking about today, I think just focusing on what are your belief systems behind what you think about the world, as well as this whole ecosystem of influencer marketing, that's going to unleash a whole new level if you can start to train your brain to work and focus on the right things. So that's a whole other webinar. We'll save that for another time. But yeah, that's it, Dustin. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Hafiz, Amber, Joey, outstanding information. Really appreciate you and sharing that knowledge. For all those folks out there, keep on recruiting and customizing, and we'll see you around. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Mhm.